It looks like we're on the air.
Well, we didn't start from Monday. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, great, super, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. We are on the air. Please find your seats. I know it's a little early by the clock back there, but we go by what they do upstairs.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the regular open meeting of United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors, California Nonprofit Mutual Benefit Corporation. Today is Tuesday, May 14th, and it's 9:30, and we are in the boardroom of the Community Center. We have our quorum, all of our directors are here, and I'd like to introduce on the end Lisa Tashjian, who is our attorney, Jeff Beaumont's partner, and is going to be helping us today. Jeff is in court and doing a trial.
Right.
Yeah, not on trial,
Not at
doing a
trial.
trial. I'm never sure of the right verb to do it. So he's not going to be with us today, but Lisa's going to help us out if we need anything. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Director Morrison.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our media is here. Brooke was bright and early this morning. And of course, we have our wonderful TV6 people helping us out upstairs. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
Thank you. Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
All right, thank you, Gary. Discussion, is there any?
We heard there's a strategic plan meeting, and we haven't seen anything yet. And I heard there was only a few directors that joined
Excuse
the
me, that's
discussion.
not, Director Torn, did you look at your package? It is in the closed session of your package.
Why
and
is it in the
We will
closed
be
section?
going over it
Why is it in the closed session?
because we need to discuss it before we bring it out to the rest of the, our residents, et cetera. This
Why-
is still the draft, so.
Why shouldn't it be an open subject instead of a closed?
Point of
Closed
order.
subject is only,
Madam President, orders of the day.
what do you mean order of the day? I'm discussing this issue.
Orders
No,
of
we're
the
We
day.
cannot
Discussing-
discuss issues?
No, this is the agenda. We are
Yes,
approving
I'm
the
asking to move the
agenda.
agenda to the open
It is
meeting.
on the agenda of our closed session. That's it.
So we are,
All
okay,
right.
second one I request is to add roles and responsibility discussion to our agenda item. We haven't had roles and responsibility discussion.
We can't
for-
do this at the meeting, Director Torn. We have a agenda prep meeting. That is where things are put on the agenda. We
Right.
do not put things on the agenda at the last minute.
So why do we even
And this
discuss
is the
that? Why
last
do we even
minute.
have a discussion on this one issue?
No, it's not if it's not on the agenda.
So it's not allowed to bring up any issue?
Orders of the day.
All right, so would you please?
There's no clarification
I
on
would
that.
ask if the director needs to be excused.
Please,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
All right, we're going to vote on the agenda. You have your wonderful new little purple, thank you very much, stylists attached to your screen. Okay, who are we missing?
You have all of them.
I think we're good.
Oh, there we go, one abstention. All right, the agenda passes. 8 in favor, 2 against, and 1 abstention. The meeting minutes of our April 9th regular meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes? Thank you.
I second.
All right. Okay, any discussion on the minutes of the April 9th meeting? Seeing none, they are approved without objection.
Hearing none. Hearing.
Isn't that what I said?
You said seeing none.
Okay, well, I'm looking to see if somebody has their hand up.
Okay.
Seeing and hearing none. Thank you, Maggie. All right, report of the chair. I have a couple of things this morning. First of all, there were some letters to the editor in the Globe that were a little misleading. And they had to do with Senate Bill 574, which is Senator Morlock's bill. And the thing that interests us the most and the reason we support it in the village is it would allow us to do an election by acclamation if we have the same number of people applying as we have open positions. So this time in the fall, we're going to have 3 positions open. If we have more than 3 people apply, we will go through the whole election process. If we only have 3 people apply, we will vote them in by acclamation, and that is going to save the mutual, our residents, over $20,000, which is what it costs to do a full election. Now, the article in the paper seemed to intimate that there was some way that the board could disqualify people they did not want to be on the board. That's not true. There is no one-size-fits-all, so they did not list all of the specified qualifications in the bill, but they are enumerated in our bylaws and our election rules. And so if you have any question as to what, I mean, it's things like you can't be a felon, you have to be up to date with your assessments, those kinds of things, and they are specified in our bylaws and in our election standard operating procedure. So I just wanted to make that comment because it seemed to intimate in the paper that we could just keep out anybody that we wanted to keep out. Secondly, I'd like to announce that on Wednesday at 1:30 here in the boardroom, we are going to present the reserve study plan that we contracted for earlier this year. Every few years, 5, 10, whatever years, we always do a reserve study in-house every year. But we have an outside company come in and do a neutral look at what we've got, and that will be presented on Thursday at 1:30, and it's an open meeting if anybody wants to come.
Thursday or Wednesday?
Excuse
Just
me,
said
Monica.
Wednesday.
16th, which is Thursday.
I just want to
Okay.
mention, at your beginning, you said Wednesday. so-
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, it's Thursday, the 16th, excuse me, at 1:30 here in the boardroom. If you're interested in that kind of thing, please feel free to join us. All right, now I will open it for member comments. 3 minutes per speaker. Hopefully you have signed up with Cheryl, and she will call you up one by one. You are to address the Board of Directors on items that are not on the agenda. If they're on the agenda, please wait to speak. Director Bastani?
Which are the 3 positions that are going to be?
The 3
vacant?
positions that are open are Director Tongs, Director Blackwell's, and Director Morrison.
Thank you.
And we don't know yet, because it hasn't come to that, whether they are going to run again. We can hope, but we don't know. Okay, as I was saying, if the item you want to speak on is on the agenda, please wait until that item is called, and then we will have discussion at that time of that agenda item. And these are only items that are within the jurisdiction of United, things that are controlled by outside forces, GRF, VMS, whatever, are not things that we need to discuss here in our board meeting. All right, who's our first speaker, Cheryl?
Our first speaker is Cy Overman.
Morning. My name is Cy Overman. I recently purchased 946A Avenida Carmel. 946 lies adjacent to the cart path for the maintenance crew as they come from, I guess, Moulton and under, and then on to 946. Knew that going in, it's fine with that as far as the traffic and the noise, it's fine. What I wasn't prepared for is the amount of dust that generated from those carts going there. 946 is from here to the wall, to the road, very close. So as they come in, especially now that the rains have pretty much stopped, you've got huge dust clouds that just emanate from them going up and down, especially in the morning when they have to get out there, in the afternoon when they have to get back. It's only about 40 yards of area that's a problem for us, and I'm speaking for the entire building, actually both buildings, 946 and 947. You've got a 15-foot pathway that leads there, and basically all you have are these easy-goes, basically golf carts at 40 inches wide, and horses. And with 15 feet of pathway, we could do it with gravel, we could do it with hardtop if there's enough money to do that. Or even above ground irrigation, and we can just damp it down, much like big construction sites do with big dust areas, things like that. So there's a way to tackle this, but it really should be done. It's a air quality situation, and it's pretty brutal. As like I said, we get into July and August and September when there's been no moisture out there. It's pretty dusty.
Okay, thank you very much. We will speak to each of them after everybody has spoken.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Cheryl.
Our next speaker is Maxine McIntosh.
Good morning, neighbors. What I'm hearing, and I personally agree with regarding the acclamation of directors when there's just an equal number running for an equal opening of positions, is not concerned about being illegal or sneaky or anything else. It's that they still want candidate statements. They still want a meeting that's televised. I think if you could reassure them, that would continue. They don't want to just wait till they get a ballot to find out something about somebody they don't know personally. So if you're still going to have the candidate statements in an open forum here with television, I think most people would appreciate it. Most people tell me they appreciate the board trying to save the money. I want to quickly just briefly mention, because I have another urgent appointment and may miss this discussion, on 13B, the signs in the laundry room. You know, these rules were posted over 10 years ago. First set over 10 years ago, when a lot of people didn't have computers. And the restriction of something on the bulletin board must be 5.5 inches by 8 or smaller. Please change that to 8.5 by 11. People print a lot of things off on their computers, and they want to put that paper up. And if you walk around, it's just a hobby of mine, but if you walk around in and out of a lot of laundry rooms like I do, you'll find that most of the laundry room bulletin boards are rather bare, not overcrowded. And if people will start, they're not doing it, but if they will finally start dating when they post something, then other people can remove something out of date and make room for their paper. So please change. I hope you'll consider changing the 5 inches by 8 inches to 8.5 by 11 when you get there.
That's
Yes,
an
it is.
agenda.
Yeah, but I
That's
can't
what
stay
she
that
said.
long for that
Oh,
discussion.
okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I have something urgent. I do want to say, when you're sitting on the GRF committee meetings representing United, that any chance you have, you try to convince GRF to put Clubhouse 3 ahead of Clubhouse 1. If you walk through there, I walked through there again this morning. The tables in the art room, I know that they're given the tables that are stained, that's okay. Big silver tape wrapping around the corners, trying to hold the top surface down to the table. Not one table, not 2 tables, not 5, many. And some of the tables, the stuffing that, I guess it's a pressed wood, gets moist and then it pushes out like a big boil on the table, just looks awful. And they have they have a type of soundproofing on the walls that looks like, not unattractive looking, but it looks like straw painted white and packed tightly. But the trouble is it comes all the way to the door and you can't wash it. So it turns real yellow all the way around the doors. And the kitchenette in there, big chips out of the Formica counters, just looks terrible. So I hope any chance you get, since you are responsible for oversight of GRF, like the other housing mutuals, that you'll speak to that. In 2017, Clubhouse 1 was in first place.
All right, Maxine, your time is up.
Okay, instead of 3. Thank you.
That concludes our speakers.
All right. Mr. Overman, we will take that under consideration. We will talk to our staff and landscaping crew. I can't give you a specific answer. Did he left?
Okay.
All right, Maggie, did you have?
I was going to ask him where he is located. He gave me the number, but is he, what side of El Toro is he?
Okay, all right.
I
Well,
guess he.
we
I
can
don't
find
know.
that out from the
But
numbers
anyway,
that he gave us.
irrelevant now.
Yes. Gary?
I wanted to ask him if he thought if we put a heavy mulch, is he still here?
No, no, it's,
Heavy mulch, if that would take care of it.
yeah, well,
Right. That's one of the problems we have, folks. If you come to speak to the board, please stay long enough to allow us to address your issue. When you get up to speak and then leave, it negates whatever it is that you're having to say. Maggie?
I'll put his concern on the,
Landscape.
in the landscape meeting. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Director Akrakar?
Thank you. Maxine, you're talking about Clubhouse 1 or Clubhouse 3? Because I got confused. Clubhouse 1? Okay. Thank you. I'll go look it
In the
up.
beginning, you reversed them.
Oh, thank you. Thank
At the
you so
end, you
much
did it
for
right.
catching that.
Okay. All
He's
right.
back.
Yes, all right.
Mr. Oberman, I will take your concern to the landscape committee meeting. Okay, and they have control of all the surfaces on the paths and things like that. If you would like to come to the landscape meeting, you can look it up. Let's see, I have to look back here. I don't know offhand what date it is, probably in the next 2 weeks. The 11th? Okay, which?
No, next meeting is June 13th.
June 13th. Okay, but in the meantime, we'll put it in the works and see how it goes. Have you made a complaint? Okay,
All right.
And do you want to ask him about the mulch?
right. So you might go right across the hall and ask for a resident service form to a landscape request. Okay, and that makes it official and gets the whole ball rolling, okay?
Would a heavy mulch put on that area handle it?
It could for a while. I don't think it would be a permanent situation. There's a product that's used in construction. It's called DG. And it's more of a sand-based material.
Yeah.
It's used on racetracks, actually.
Right.
So it would be compatible with the horses as well.
Right.
The ones that are dying?
Not those, the ones we have.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Director Margolis, you asked to speak.
I just wanted to make sure that you realize that it is a horse track. So you need to make sure, I don't think mulch is good for horses nor gravel. So we'll need to make sure that they understand that it is a horse
We'll need to
track.
work with the Equestrian Center on that. Okay, thank you. All right. Anybody else? All right. And yes, Maxine, we will take your suggestion under consideration. I believe Clubhouse 1 is scheduled before Clubhouse 3, but except for the health and safety that's going on right now. All right, and so then I will go to,
Number 9.
well, 8A, Director Margolis, a
Oh, yes.
follow-up report from the April meeting.
In April, Edward Foster expressed a concern about the lack of attention to landscaping services by United. For instance, he has seen 4-foot weeds in the planters, etc. Kurt Weimer, our field service manager, is aware of the problem in landscaping, and he has hired a landscape coordinator to help with communication with the landscape crews and more timely work scheduling. Also, there is now a landscaping expert who will assist with procedures and approaches to complete the work more efficiently, and we hope to see a great improvement. Pat English removed the ceiling lights in her kitchen and replaced them with 4 recessed lights. She wishes to know why the city seemed to require 4 permits instead of 1 permit for the whole project. After checking with the city, we find that there was only 1 city permit required for the project. The mutual also requires a permit, but it is actually just a permission slip to allow the work to be done on our property, a mutual consent. We do call it a permit, but it is really a permission slip. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we now go to item number 9, and that is an update from VMS, and I'd like to call on Director Ron Bellner, who is one of our 3 representatives on VMS.
Good morning, Board of Directors, and to our community. Today I'm going to be talking about the gate access program, where we stand, also about the traffic violations and a few other issues. We'll go to first. Next slide. Okay. As of today, gates 5 and 6, 2 and 8, and 3 and 7 are completed. If you have an RFID chip, you may use the bus and truck lane in gate 3. So that is something for you to use. It's now set for you. We are currently working on gates 1 and 9, and when that is done, we will be going on to gates 4 and 14, and then on to 10. We hope to finish gates 1 and 9 by mid-June. Gate access project. Now this is very important to everybody here. We now have we have 17,184 vehicles registered with the decal, and that's more than 85% of the vehicles within the village. We are encouraging everybody who has a golf cart or a car to please get the RFID chip. We still have people coming in through the guest lane, even though they don't have that chip, but they have a tag or they hold a piece of paper up. And this holds up the people on the gates and the traffic behind them, and it backs up into the street. We have also the Dwelling Live guest list. Use your home computer or your phone when you want some guests to come in. And also remember that when you invite somebody in, please tell them what some of our driving rules are, and that you are also responsible for any actions that they do within the village. The call center operators were gate ambassadors taking calls. Right now, 40% of our calls are being handled by the gate access department, the call center. And our goal is to reduce the 2 ambassadors per gate to 1. And we've set up a rover program so that these people can get their breaks where somebody will come in and relieve them. This helps reduce the operating costs to the village. Okay. Let's talk a little about certificates. So far, and since the beginning of the year, we've issued 209 tickets for speeding, 96 for stop sign violations, 315 for parking, no decal, 537, and expired registration, 215. California Vehicle Code requires anybody who drives a motor vehicle to have a driver's license, a registration on that car, and insurance. And unfortunately, we have members of our community who believe since they're only driving within the village, they don't go out, they don't need to have these items. But you do, and it's going to be required. At this point, we're not turning you in to the state. but that could change in a future date to protect our residents. Over the 3 years, as you can see up there through 2018, speeding was 630, stop signs was 551, parking was 901, no decal 741, and expired registration 749. So this is an important issue that we have, and our security people are going around and they are checking the cardboards. Go to the next one. Traffic collisions. Hit and run, we've had 5. Now, what is a hit and run? Sometimes our people driving down the street get too close to a parked car and their outside mirror hits the mirror of the car that's parked. Or when they're pulling into a space at one of our clubhouses, they hit the car, either pulling in, pulling out, they had the wheel turned wrong. Please leave your name and information so if you do hit the car, so that the person can contact you and have this taken care of. Non-injury, we've had 40 accidents, collisions, and we've had 3 actual with injuries. Last year, it was 24 hit and runs, 149 injuries, and 14 with injury. With the next one. Now, these are not make-believe. These are actual accidents within the village. The car upside down, hit the curb, car flipped. So these are not setups. So this is what it looked like when we have the traffic accidents. Only you paying attention can help prevent these accidents. Next one. Distracted driving is a key cause of accidents. As we get into summer, the sun shines on your windshield. Please slow down, use your sun shield in your car, wear dark glasses, or get an extension on your visor. In Third Mutual, the sun hit a windshield, and the driver hit a 93-year-old man who died from his injuries. We don't want this to happen in United, so please slow down and be careful when the sun is out. Stop signs mean stops, and too many of our people, when they don't see anybody, roll right through them, and especially at night. They come to the stops, there's nobody coming in any direction, why should I stop? You could be hitting somebody who is walking, or you could wind up hitting another car pulling out. And this time of year, a lot of people are out there from, I've seen them at 5 a.m. walking on the streets, and I've seen them at 8:30, 9 o'clock, even 9:30 walking. So please be careful on this. Enforcement, we're bringing in more people within our security patrols for night to watch for these things. We are also, you have to think about, when is it time to turn in your car keys? I thought about this, and it was the hardest thing because I can remember the day at 15 and a half when I sat behind the wheel for the first time in California. And that sometimes scares me that one day I'm going to have to say, I can't drive anymore. So please think about this. There is another issue here, and that is people think because we're in a closed community, it is absolutely safe to leave your purse, your wallet, your phone, your computer, and other items on the front seat of your car and just park it. If you want to leave these items in your car, it's like putting a neon sign on. Put them in the trunk or lock your car or take them in the house. There's really no need to leave a purse overnight in a car or a wallet in the car. So these are things that we want you to really take a look at. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the basic report on what is happening within the village. Is there any questions?
All right, Director Tong.
I think
No, me.
Cash is in front of me.
I thought you're on my list of speakers who wanted to speak.
He raised his hands first.
That doesn't matter. He did not press his button.
Or request to speak.
Okay.
I'm next.
Thank you very much, Director Bellner. You mentioned that residents should share with guests the driving rules in this village. I think that's a great idea. However, we don't really know all the driving rules. All I know is 25 miles, you cannot park in the red zone, and vendors cannot park in the cul-de-sac area, in the reserved space, and that kind of thing. There are additional rules. Is it possible that security provide this kind of a driving rules and hand it out to the guests, and possibly the residents will sign it off and share with the information that will increase the awareness of all the drive-ins? I think that's, rather than the resident tell them, resident really don't know everything about it. So that's, I just recommending there may be other rules, other ways to do things better. So just my recommendation.
Well,
Thank
I'll bring
you.
this to the VMS board and to Moy. But we do send out once a year reports to you in your packages that you receive, showing some of the rules, regulations, and the fines that we do have for you. And if you do have questions, you can come in and ask. You brought up a potential issue, and that is the guide to golf cart and low-speed vehicle use. We have certain rules within the state of California. If you go outside of this community, if you go into Laguna Hills, Lake Forest, you have to have a driver's license, registration, and insurance. But the city of Laguna Woods has a special compensation thing with the state that we can go within the village on the trails and certain sidewalks outside that are set up for golf carts where you will not need a driver's license, insurance, and registration. So you have to obey them. If you would like copies of this, these are available here in the community center, along with lists of where all the trails are that you're allowed to go. I do have to mention one thing. I have been seeing a lot of people crossing Paseo de Valencia going into Laguna Hills. They go to the mall or they go to the farmer's market. The city of Laguna Hills does not want golf carts in their city. They can, sheriff can pull you over, and he can put you on a bus, and then you have to bail out your vehicle. So please listen to the rules. Again, these are all published. They're available right here in the community center.
All right, Director Akrakar.
Thank you, Chair. Coming around 6 o'clock or so on Gate 2, there is quite a few of cars coming in as the residents, but the lane for gate guests is open.
Right.
Is that allowed for residents?
Yes, you may use that guest lane,
Guest lane,
but it'll
okay.
be a little slower because it doesn't have the RFID controller at that one, so the ambassador will have to open the gate for you.
But you can use that?
You can use that.
Okay.
We
My
do
s-
have backups at certain times, 5 to 6 o'clock, Gate
Yeah.
2, Gate 1, Gate 3, all have these.
Okay. Second question I have, you said you want to reduce the ambassadors at gates from 2 down to 1 or down to 2? What are you talking about?
Yes, that is one of the programs we're trying to do right now by having the people call in and make arrangements. And then we can get it down to 2, actually from 2 to 1 person, and then we will have a rover come over to relieve that person during the day.
But my concern is at night, if you have only one lady up there at the gate, it could be a problem, because I do notice out, especially on El Toro, people walking that are not fully themselves.
Yeah.
And so I would like you guys to think twice before doing the night shift, especially down to 1.
Well, that'll be
Just
a
for safety.
decision of the security chief, Chief Boyd.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
Director Laboratory.
Thank you, Madam President. I just have a concern at Gate 16 and Gate 2. If you're a golf cart waiting to cross and you're by yourself, you may go through 3 cycles of that light before they let you go, and that's nonsense. I can understand one golf cart maybe passing one cycle, but I've sat at gate 16 and at gate 2 where I've gone through 3 light cycles before they let me out. So I'd like the VMS to address that, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Director Morrison?
RFIDs, excuse me, in the guest lane,
All right.
is that an expensive proposition to have or to have the gate recognize an RFID?
Well, when you have the guests, the gate ambassador has to press a button to open it. It doesn't
Right.
have the chip on there. Question came up, should we put that onto that gate also? But then we also would create some additional problems, because remember, people coming in are giving their name and the person they're going to visit. Others have a card that they have that has been issued to them by the member.
Right.
And so they want to check these out and they scan them. We scan everybody
Right.
coming in that lane.
Yeah, the only reason I'm asking is in gate 3 yesterday, and it was backed up. There were probably 10, 12 cars backed up trying to get through, and the visitor gate was completely open. So I went up to the visitor gate and I got spanked for going in there.
You shouldn't do that. They will let you through.
She did, she let me through, but she,
Don't get in that habit.
I appreciate the report, Director Bellner, but on these particular issues, I encourage you to go to the Security Access Committee.
Right.
And raise these questions.
Right.
And they will work with the Security Division on hopefully answering your questions, et cetera. It's not something that we can do here at this meeting. So thank you very much for your report.
You're welcome.
All right, our next item is the CEO report.
Madam Chair, a few items for you this morning. Number one, village television broadcasts, big projects affecting the village. I just wanted to make the residents aware, and certainly the board, that if you missed, and we've had a couple of big meetings. We had the I-5 El Toro Road interchange project over at the PAC, and also we also filmed the Five Lagunas Shopping Center presentation. Those are on village television. If you weren't able to attend, they're recorded and available on Village YouTube channel. So if you weren't able to attend those important meetings, certainly take an opportunity to look at the YouTube channel from the village and get yourself up to date on the presentations that were made, because they do affect the community. Over the weekend, as you know, the community center was closed, and we put the very, very large new HVAC equipment on top of the roof. That's been installed now. We're obviously back in operation, and for the next month or so, we'll be tweaking the system, make sure, but clearly air flowing better, and we have a better operation, and certainly more cost effective moving forward. So we're glad to see that GRF project getting completed. Last night we had a little reception, and now in place is the new resident artwork on display at the community center. So I want to thank Laguna Woods Art Association, President Chris DeYoung, and her organization, and the staff that did an excellent job putting on a reception last night. And the art, if you have a chance to look at the various art that's in the community center, it's outstanding work that our residents have done, so enjoy that. Coming up on Memorial Day ceremony on Monday, May 27th at the Performing Arts Center at 1 p.m. We'd like you to join us in a remembrance for those that gave their lives serving our country. So the ceremony will include the United States Marine Corps and the American Legion Post 257. And really interesting and cool is the performances by the All-American Boys Choir. This is going to be admission is free. Seating is reserved. Tickets are available starting at the PAC box office as of yesterday. And each manor is allowed a maximum of 4 seats. For more information on that, please call the PAC box office at 949-597-4288 or email recreation@bmsinc.org. Coming up also relative to Memorial Day, this coming Saturday is the Memorial Golf Tournament. Dinner is to benefit the foundation in Laguna Woods Village. Saturday, the 18th. This is the Laguna Woods Men's Golf Club and Laguna Woods Village are co-sponsoring the 11th annual tournament, as I indicated, to benefit the foundation. So if you're interested in playing that, I think they're still taking reservations. So that's a neat event. And one other thing I wanted to mention as far as repair and activity starting again is the new carpet installation is done at the bocce courts over at Clubhouse 1 is complete. Courts are ready for play. And we see an average about 70 players per week playing there. So that's really great. And they're open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. on a daily basis, lighted for night play also. So that concludes my report for today.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the board for the CEO? Seeing none, we'll go to agenda item 11. I'm still seeing because I'm looking at people to see if they're asking to speak. The consent calendar, we have 8 items on the consent calendar this time. May I have a motion, please, to approve the consent calendar? Thank you, Elsie. Is there a second? Thank you, Carl. All right, is there any discussion on the consent calendar, or is there any item on the consent calendar a director would like to pull? Director Armendariz.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Juanito. I've talked about this topic before, and it's item 11E. And I do want to thank staff because they have added a number of items there that are required under Civil Code 5500. However, they're still not all the way there. There are still 2 items that are lacking that I know of. And I will review it again and see if there's any more. And I will present the items that should be added at the next Finance Committee meeting. Excuse me. However, the major one that's not addressed yet, and a lot of residents may not know this, but the payments for all to outside vendors is done through one account. And that means that when you pay vendors for items that
Madam
apply-
Chair, orders of the day, please.
You did not pull this item for discussion. You are discussing the motion to remove.
You asked for comments on, we're going to vote on this, so I'm going to tell you why.
You need to remove it from the consent calendar first.
Move.
I need a motion to remove
Okay.
11E from the consent calendar for discussion.
Okay, so be it.
Is there a second to his motion?
I second it.
All right. All right, now you can continue.
Move it to where? No, you move it to.
No?
New
12.
business.
Unfinished or new?
All right, it's been removed from the consent calendar, and it will now go under unfinished business 12D,
Very good,
and we'll discuss it at that time.
thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the other 7 items on the consent calendar. Would you please vote on your screens?
Director Bastani, can I have your vote, please?
Here we-
There we go. It's unanimous, 11 to nothing, and so the consent calendar passes. All right, we'll go to number 12, which is unfinished business, and 12A is, this had its first reading last month. Entertain a motion to adopt a revised payment plan agreement form and resolution for payment plan fee policy for assessments. This is not monetary fees, this is only for assessments. It was introduced in February With the initial notification in March, it was reintroduced, and the 28-day member review has now been satisfied. May I have a motion to adopt this?
I will read this. Assessment plan, payment plan agreement. A member who is in arrears on regular assessments is entitled to make a written request for a payment plan to the board. Each request for a delinquent assessment payment plan is approved or denied on a case-by-case basis after review by the Finance Committee. A delinquent assessment payment plan form, which includes several payment options and conditions, is used to create an agreement between the delinquent member and the mutual. The United Finance Committee recommends a revised payment plan agreement form with changes submitted by legal counsel to help reinforce collection activity that will occur if a member breaches the agreed-to payment plan for delinquent assessments. And whereas the Finance Committee recommends recovering costs associated with setting up a payment plan, now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Directors on May 14, 2019 hereby adopts revisions to the Delinquent Assessment Payment Plan Agreement form as attached to the corporate record and introducing a one-time setup fee of $50. Resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution, I'm going to call it. You will notice on the page preceding the pink page, page 10 of 12, that the phrase, these payments will be in addition to the regular monthly assessment, appears in some form 3 times in bold print on that form, which will be submitted. So that should make everything clear for the residents. I move this resolution.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Carl? All right, is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing and seeing none. Would you please vote? Keeps getting caught. All right, it's 11-0, so this motion passes unanimously. We'll now go to item 12B. Entertain a motion to adopt a resolution to revise the fees for golf cart charging violations. The initial notice was given in April, and it has been satisfied, so would you read that one, please?
The United Laguna Woods Mutual Board adopted Resolution 01-17-136, Golf Cart Policies and Procedures. That is all golf cart policies and procedures, all wrapped up in one resolution, which is why we do not have separate ones for everything. It's easier just to have one. To include fines for unpermitted golf carts using mutual electricity. Cords, plugs, and I don't need to read that. That's no change. And no change on the safety risk. You have to do things. Now, therefore, all the battery chargers must be elevated. There's no change there. The only change is the charge fee, which is on page 3 of 6 on the chart. And it is the 4th one down in the second grouping. It has been bumped up from $50, which was apparently ineffective as a dissuasion, and $100 should do the trick. So that is the change. Now, therefore, resolved that the corporation staff is authorized to take action to enforce this resolution by citing occupants and/or guests and unplug any golf carts found in violation. The Resolution 01-17-136 from October 17, 2017 is superseded and canceled. And officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution as written. I move this resolution.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Carl. It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the resolution to revise the fees for golf cart charging violations. Would you please vote on your screen? Oh, any discussion? I'm sorry. There was.
Yeah?
Yes, you may.
Is it possible that we just issue a request to apply for the permit and let's get rid of the whole thing rather than find them every time we found it? Is it easier that way? Well, let me explain, I guess, questions about it. How much is by the way, how much is the permit?
$240.
Can we just issue?
120.
120?
Sorry.
Can we just issue, say, you have to submit this $120 to use this one, and that's it? Instead of finding $100 every time we see them using that, and that will solve all the problems from there on.
Director Blackwell.
This is a continual occurrence. People pay $50. They're supposed to get it within a week or two, the decal, and pay their $120. They ignore that part, so they pay the $50. They go a few more months and they don't get caught, so they get a few more months free, and then they eventually get caught again and pay another $50. They're just shining us on. Okay, even with the $50, it's required that they get the $120, but they don't bother with that. Now with the $100, they might pay more attention because that's going to end up more than the $120 for the year. So that is the purpose of this. So instead of just catching them twice a year and letting them get by a little cheap and not follow our rules, we want to know the cart is registered to use our electricity. That's our electricity that United pays for. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Excuse me, Director Akrakar.
Thank you. Let me say that page number 3 of 6 is not just for golf carts, it's for every vehicle in our area. Just for your information.
This is for traffic monetary penalties, as it says. The chart is labeled, and it is divided. Right, it's in section 2, parking violations, it's number 4 down there.
And the policy and procedure is for golf carts.
Yes. Question? Discussion?
Yes, Director Tron.
I would suggest that we notice the violator that without the permit to use electricity to charge their golf carts or any other electric tools or organization, vehicles, anything like that, particularly vehicles, just tell them to pay $120 or they'll have to pay if within 30 days, or they'll have to pay additional $100 fine. So that will, I hope that will convince them to pay this one. My idea is to encourage people to follow the rules rather than fine them without, if we find them not following the rules. Encourage them to follow the rules. And I think that is probably a better approach.
Right, thank you for your suggestion. Number one, why didn't you make these suggestions during the 28-day member comment? Claire, to bring it up when we are up for second vote is a little late to change this. Secondly, the monetary fees are sometimes the only thing our residents pay attention to. And we do encourage them, we tell them to go get the decal, they don't. They just think I'm going to slip by. So it doesn't work.
Is there a motion?
I think the reason
All right, I
for the
have a motion on the floor.
30-day delay is to give people a second thought.
It's
I
too
do have
late
a
to
second
amend the
thought.
motion.
He's
So
not amending.
does that mean that once we approve the first time, we cannot have a second thought? Okay, that's the fallacy of this board trying to
They
say.
are fined
we approved
every
that first
time they are
the
caught.
Can I finish my speak? Okay. If we then why do we have the second time? If we cannot speak up at any oppositions or different ideas, why do we even have a second time? Okay.
Andre, make a motion.
I'm against this rule, and I think we need to send it back
Then
to
vote
the
in-
board and send it to the committee.
Thank you.
and
Vote
rethink
against it. All right, I have a motion and second to adopt the resolution to revise the fees for golf cart charging. Please vote on your screen. All right, the motion passes 10 in favor and 1 against. All right, we will go to 12C, to entertain a motion to adopt the amended financial qualifications policy. Would you read that, please, Madam Secretary?
Oh, yes. The pink sheet is in front of the information. So this is 12C, page 3 of 8. This is community property consideration. Whereas the mutual is a nonprofit benefit corporation and so on, with housing for cooperative nonprofit basis pursuant to the provisions set forth in articles of consideration, incorporation and bylaws and board resolutions. Corporation's amended and restated bylaws provides the purpose of the corporation is, among other things, to manage, maintain, preserve, and administer the business of a common interest development, a stock cooperative. The bylaws is responsible for managing business affairs and exercising corporate powers. United is a stock cooperative. The board desires consistent policies. And therefore it be resolved, the following resolution is introduced by the Board of Directors. Regarding community property, that is spousal marital community property, as set forth in the financial qualifications policy, marital community property is excluded from assets to be considered in order to meet financial qualifications when only one partner is purchasing. Likewise, community property is not considered if a prospective member is purchasing a unit as his or her sole property. Consideration of community property assets or community property contributions, I'm striking out the duplication of community property assets, that only needs to be there once, or community property contributions to purchase a unit, albeit as sole property, may transmute the intended sole property into community property. Be it therefore resolved that the officers, directors, and agents of this corporation are authorized to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move this resolution.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, I have a motion. It's been moved and seconded to amend the financial qualifications policy to include the resolution on community property. Is there any discussion? Director Armendariz.
Thank you, Juanito. I have no problem with the resolution. However, I have this suggestion. If you read down on the resolution on page 3 of 8, therefore, the first item where it speaks about regarding community property, I think the whole paragraph is very clear. But in the publication that you have here on page 2 of 3, that has all the rules for qualification, and this comes into play on the last bullet item there, community property. I think to a lot of people, even myself, when I read this, I thought, what does that mean? Until I went back and looked at the resolution. And it says community property, marital community property, comma, except between the parties. It doesn't really tell you what the resolution tells you. So I'm suggesting that we expand that language. Thank you.
All right, that's why we are doing this
It is,
resolution.
marital community property is excluded from assets to be considered in order, I'm just reading number 1 on the resolution again. It is covered in paragraph 1 of the now therefore.
This is just to clarify the original financial qualifications that we had. Thank
You
you.
know, you read that, you don't know what it means.
All right, Director Akrakar.
I have a couple of issues here. One, if you look at page 1, last paragraph, it's talk about allowing depreciation. Depreciation is allowed only when you own something. In United, we do not own the property, so this should not be allowed. Again, same thing on page 3. Now therefore, item 1, it's talking about if prospective member is purchasing a unit as his or her sole property. Again, he is not purchasing the unit, he's just purchasing a right to lease or
To
to
share.
stay. This needs to be sent back and revised properly. We are not owners of the units in United.
That's correct, but to your first point, this financial qualifications is not just the unit that they are the share that they are purchasing. If they own other property, say a condo in third, community property comes into effect there in our financial qualifications as to what can be
But if we
there,
allow
so.
our properties to be allowed for depreciation, what will happen is we are going to trigger something that we are really not.
Where are you?
We don't own
Page 1
anything.
of 8.
Thank you.
Well, this is basically rental property depreciation. We don't do the rental properties.
It is covered in the third whereas.
Right.
It covers in the third whereas,
Right,
okay?
right.
So it's covered there. Whereas United Stock Cooperative, which each shareholder member is granted the right to occupy a specific unit. It covers it right there.
And in the staff report, what they're referring to is other units, because we have a lot of people who use rental property to determine their assets in order as a financial qualification. And this is what goes to them allowing or disallowing.
But it needs to be clarified that we're not talking about United properties.
Okay,
That is not made clear here.
all right. Director Addington?
In the first, I guess it's the only now therefore, I don't, I'm not, I'm for this, I'm just confused as to the difference between community property is excluded from assets to be considered in order to meet financial qualifications when one partner is purchasing. I understand that. And then likewise, community property is not considered if a prospective member is purchasing a unit as his or her sole property. So I might be missing something, but it seems to me like the only thing differentiating those two sentences is the phrase, his, her sole property. Just sounds repetitive, but maybe I'm missing something. Thank
It's
you.
a way to get around community property. People can declare it their sole unit, and therefore it is not community property. Pamela, can you help us
Hey, no,
in explaining this?
I understand the difference between sole and separate property and community property. I'm just saying in this writing, it sounds like you said it twice. That's what I'm addressing, not the intent or the.
All right, let's see.
Him.
Carl, you haven't spoken.
Thank you, Juanita. I have a gravelly voice right now, been a little bit under the weather. I just want to comment on this particular item and all the other unfinished business items. It seems that we spend a lot of time during the unfinished business items with regard to the fact that we look at it for the first time again 28 days later and then want to put it back in committee, while we had 28 days to review these items. And that was the point. If you see something the first time it gets reviewed, when it gets read the first time, then you have 28 days to make your comments. So that on the unfinished business, this should go through or has already gone back to committee. And we keep doing this all the time, and we waste a lot of time here in this particular meeting under unfinished business, rehashing the same thing that we should have rehashed back in the new business time frame. So I just want to say, okay, I don't like wasting my time, and under the circumstances right now, we should be thinking about these new business items when we're going to see them next, in the next section of the thing here under 13, to look at them and say, we don't like them, and as a result of that, during that 28 days, we want to say that there's a problem, not the day of the next board meeting. Thank you.
Or under new business, send it back to committee. Mary Stone? Everybody gets to speak before we go back for a second time.
Mary Stone, 356C. Yes, in the number 1 regarding community property, I think that it is behoove you to change purchasing a share rather than a unit, just as was mentioned. And that's you could possibly consider that a Scrivener's error and not have to send it back. It's not, the intent is to correct something that is an error or, clarify something. And then I believe that Maggie also mentioned taking out community property. So you need to do that as Scrivener's errors so that you can continue this, make the actual, motion to accept it or approve it rather than go back to 28 days.
So there would be three
Scrivener's.
corrections to number 1. Under
Right.
the word likewise on the right-hand side, it's the 4th line down. You say, is purchasing a share.
A share.
And in the 5th line, we're crossing off the second or community property
Right.
assets.
So it would read,
Which is a
And in the
duplicate.
next, and continuing on over to that, is to purchase a share. So we make those 3 corrections.
yes.
Okay.
And I think that would clarify and also not be considered major changes.
It's not substantive, right? All right.
All right. We'll go back to Director Armandaris. Did you want to speak a second time?
No?
Oh, sorry, you're still on my.
All right.
Director Akrakar?
Even then, we are still left in limbo to allow our properties or share to be depreciated. A share cannot be depreciated. Share is a share. We don't have a title to the property. We cannot depreciate like page 1 talks about.
Page 1 is a staff
Where are you?
report. It's not part of the resolution. And the staff report talks about rental property.
Rental property, that's it.
Right.
Something about rental property, not your unit.
But if I own a unit and I want to rent it, it does
No, you
does
don't.
not apply to that.
This is
This financial
acquiring a
qualification.
share for your first unit.
Thank you.
I think we're ready.
All right. Director Addington, did you have something to add?
I just wanted to thank Director Randazzo for his little scolding there, but I also wanted to mention, that a lot of hands touch these things before we get to see them again. So no matter how much we participate at the committee level or at the first, sometimes these things come up. That's all I'm going to say, which was faster than what you said.
Thank you. Director Torring, you wanted to speak a second time?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between unfinished business and a consent calendar. Consent calendar, we don't argue it, we just approve it. The whole reason for unfinished business waiting for 28 days is that so you can go back and think about it and come back and say, okay, here's my second review, and I have different thoughts on that. And at the same time, we can review it with our residents, talk to them about issues, and hear their point of view, and that may trigger something totally different thoughts. So that's the whole idea of if the policy or the rule is that we don't discuss anything for unfinished business once it's agreed the first time. I don't know what's the purpose of the unfinished business now.
All right, thank you. Again, on my list, I have Director Armandaris. You did not want to speak
I
on
I
this?
made my comments about.
Okay,
the
all right, it should just
Community
be
property.
taken off.
11D is what I'm waiting for.
All right, okay.
Okay.
There's been a motion and a second to adopt the amended, and now this, with the Scribner errors amended as well, financial qualification policy on community property. Would you please vote? All right, it passes unanimously. All right, now we will go to the item that was removed from the consent calendar, which was 11E and is now 12D, the statutory obligations under Civil Code 5501. Director Armandaris, you wanted to speak on this.
Thank you. My comment on that is that if you, a director.
I'm sorry.
I should read it?
Even though it was on the consent calendar, it is in the packet, and the secretary needs to read it.
It was 11B?
No, 11E.
E. Okay. Okay. All right, this is,
It's not a resolution.
okay.
We just have the financial review check sheet on
Right.
page 1 of 2. You might,
Just read 11E.
I can't.
right,
Okay.
we have the one page. It's not pink, sorry. We have her
I know
color
it,
coded.
I know it.
If you would just please read the checklist.
I know. What? 11B is the pink sheet?
No, it's
No?
not, it's white. It's not a resolution.
I don't have it. Oh, yes, I know what this is. Okay. Yes, this is the financial review confirmation checklist for the Board of Directors, California nonprofit. This is pursuant to California Civil Code, Section 5500, unless the governing documents impose more stringent requirements, the Board of Directors is required to do this review, and statements on a monthly basis may be satisfied by a subcommittee of the board, which consists of Mr. Morrison and Ms. Addington, and at least that's the two. The checklist is designed for use in keeping track of financial review. We have a checklist with 5 checks and signed on the back.
You want to read the things that are on the checklist?
Oh, a current reconciliation of United's operating and reserve accounts. And 2, the current year's actual operating revenues and expenses compared to the current year's budget. 3, the latest account statements prepared by the financial institutions where United has its operating and reserve accounts. And 4, the income and expense statement for United's operating and reserve accounts. And 5, the check register monthly general ledger and delinquent assessments receivable reports. I certify that the above financial documents were reviewed to the best of my ability. In my fiduciary capacity as a member of the United Board of Directors or subcommittee of the Board of Directors. Nothing contained herein is intended nor shall be construed as any guarantee nor waiver of any United's legal rights or remedies, all of which are expressly reserved. Signature, Gary Morrison. Signature, Elsie Addington. Thank you.
All right, now, Dr. Armandaris.
The only reason I'm bringing this up again is because that statement that the subcommittee signs is not really complete yet. I will comment that VMS has added, staff has added some additional schedules and information that's available to the directors. However, the one that is really important relates to the first two items under Code Section 5500. And that is a review on a monthly basis, the current reconciliation of the association's operating account, review on a monthly basis, the current reconciliation of the association's reserve accounts. And they could have used better language probably, but that's talking about the bank account, where funds come out of there in order to pay vendors. And this issue has come up before, and I was provided a letter from staff that they received from the California Legislature's office. And in there it says, if you look up the Davis Sterling Act, it seems to imply that you should have separate accounts for that. But in talking to different people, that's not set in stone. But here's what it said: the law requires separate accounting of the reserve fund and the general fund, but does not require a separate bank account. So staff here, all the disbursements go to one bank account. So that means reserve funds and operating funds get commingled in order to process those payments. So under this letter that they got, a separate accounting for that should be provided. Well, when you look at what's available to the director, they have added a new schedule, and that schedule gives you a breakdown of what goes to the reserve account. It's not the checking account. It gives you the information as to the reserve balance, additions to it from interest, additions to it from assessments, expenditures out of it. So it's a totally different analysis that does not apply to this. So currently, the bank reconciliation does not separate the information there, like the beginning balance, transferred into the account, disbursements out of the account, ending balance. So again, they're still deficient, and so I plan to bring this up at the next Finance Committee meeting, and again request that they comply with this requirement. So as far as the certification that you're getting right now, it is still not compliant. Thank you.
All right, I encourage you to bring that to the Finance Committee. However, the checklist that we have that's been approved by our subcommittee is correct. Those documents have been reviewed. So I ask for your vote, please, to approve 11E, page 1 of 2. Director Torn?
Yes, I'm just curious, when we sign up these things, are we realize we are not following the Sterling rules on this one? And what kind of procedure they identify they need to follow through in order to ensure all these check marks are valid and everything's in place? What kind of methodology they use to verify the information? Just want to know something that as a fiduciary responsibility and due diligence, have we, and the most important thing as far as the board is, as far as I'm concerned about the board, is to watch your money, watch the residents' money. So how do they spend it, where do they spend it, why do they spend it? Have we done our due diligence on that? This would be definitely provide us some inside information on that. Just want to know that how is that relate to the money is done correctly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, call for the vote, please. All right, the vote passes with 7 yeses and 4 noes. All right, we'll go on to new business now. Item 13A, entertain a motion to introduce a resolution for changes to the mutual's smoking policy. And that's 13A. If you will read that, please, Madam Secretary.
The Governing Documents Review Committee has recommended adopting a non-smoking policy to fairly and reasonably address smoking in Laguna Woods Village. And Laguna Woods Village Mutual has received numerous complaints from various residents concerning odors and annoyance. The board of directors of this corporation hereby introduces the revised non-smoking policy. Resolution 01-1754 is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are authorized to carry out this resolution as written. The resolution has changed it. It says that there is no smoking allowed in United except in various places like inside your own home or inside your own car where there is no escape of smoke. So you can, it can't be done in a community facility, it can't be done outdoors. It has to be done in your unit or your patio or wherever where nothing can escape, where there is no escape of smoke.
Closed patio.
Enclosed,
not an
that's
open
the
patio.
secret word. Thank you. So that's the change. I move this resolution.
I would like to add that we did add a couple of other things. For instance, we did not
Oh, no.
specify vaping.
Right.
And so we added that to the policy as well, since we're seeing more and more of that instead of just cigarettes, cigars, pipe smoke, et cetera, et cetera. So I have a motion to approve this to go forward to our June meeting. This is the first reading. Do I have a second for that motion?
I make a second.
All right, Gary. Any discussion? Okay. Director Torn?
Yes, you mentioned those vaping. Where is it stated? In the resolution?
That's the change they're doing. They're going to add that word.
It's in the policy.
It is on 5 of 11.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 11 of 11. I'm looking at the 11 of 11, the resolution.
That refers to the policy. The policy starts earlier. The policy is an attachment.
Oh, I thought you just talked to Cash, you said that's not in the resolution, something that's mortgage is not already in the resolution, so that doesn't count.
No.
So I'm looking at the resolution, I'm not looking at the,
The policy is attached.
Nuggets, non-smoking policy.
We try to keep our resolutions down
I
instead of
understand we
going
try
through
to keep
everything.
down, but we're missing critical words there.
Go back to page 5
5 of
and look at what the policy says.
So policy overrides the resolution.
The resolution puts forth the policy. Adopt the non-smoking policy, and that's what you see on page 5.
Yeah, I understand that. But I thought you were just telling Director Akrobar that the mortgage issue is not in the resolution, so that doesn't
It
count.
did not, in the resolution, refer to a separate policy. This does. The resolution specifically recommends adopting the non-smoking policy, and the policy is what you see as attachment 2 on page 5. So we don't have to reiterate in the resolution everything that is in the separate policy. All right, Director Randazza?
Yeah, I'm a bit confused myself, and maybe it's because I'm a little under the weather. The thing right now is the resolution states that and I understand what we're trying to do, but I don't think it sort of does it. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. The thing right now is it refers back to the fact that this Resolution 01-1754 is now null and void. And then we've got this thing on page 5, which says, United Non-Smoking Policy adopted February 14, 2017. But it does not, we don't have a new policy, or we specifically have an updated policy, or the top of this thing says that this is the one associated with the new resolution, which is adopted on May 14, 2019. I don't know, I'm at odds with how it's, I know what we're trying to do, I'm in agreement with what we're trying to do, I just don't think we're there yet. But that's my personal opinion, and that's where I stand on it.
You will see page.
I think it needs to go back to committee,
No,
my personal opinion.
okay, hold on, folks. Pardon me for
Let's
speaking
get the
without
rest
being
of the
recognized.
comments, and then you can move
If
it
you
back to
look
committee
at
if you
page
wish.
8 of 11, page 8 of 11 is the new policy. 8 of 11 is the new policy. And it says in line 2, smoking or vaping in private units and common area, da-da-da-da-da, and then it goes down to G, smoking or vaping, and then it has 3 conditions. Smoking and vaping is prohibited in the entirety of United Laguna Woods Village, including common areas, but may be allowed in the following areas as long as a nuisance is not created. The interior of units, as long as smoke is not permitted to escape the unit. The interior of enclosed balconies and enclosed patios, as long as smoke is not permitted to escape the foregoing enclosures. Enclosed vehicles, as long as smoke is not permitted to escape the vehicle. Any other authorized smoking areas established by the board. Then we have all the things which are crossed off, and we go down to the 2 paragraphs at the bottom, and the page 10 of 11 also. So the new policy will be this, pages 8 through 11, with the strikeouts stricken and the underlined parts added.
And it'll be adopted as of today.
But I only know that because you just said it.
The date is
There's nothing in here that
Right,
refers
right.
me back to it. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Director Margolis?
I'm concerned about the remediation costs considered reasonable. What exactly are we adopting here in remediations on page 10 of 11? So we have damages and so forth. Responsibility for remediation costs associated with secondhand smoke. Can I get my cancer treatments paid for?
May I speak?
Thank you. Yes, Director Blackwell.
We have been, United has been not doing that. What we have had to do in some units is to block vents and so on, and to remediate, so the person is due to the vapor, or whatever, the smoker, is billed the cost of making the other person's unit, the next door neighbor who's been breathing this through the vents and through everything, making them whole. And so that's what the remediation costs are. And they are responsible to be paid by the member and to make the secondhand smoke breather's unit back to normal.
Maybe we need to add at the top there, remediation costs to the unit associated with
Yes,
secondhand
that's
smoke.
a good idea.
Because it is to the unit, not to the
Right.
person. We are often asked when a smoker moves out to change out carpeting, change out sometimes even wallboard, depending on what has done the smoke. So it's just to the unit. All right, Director Armandaris?
My suggestion, in order to clarify any confusion here would be in the resolution. The third line, or third paragraph downwards, it's now therefore be resolved, May 14, 2019, to the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby introduces the revised non-smoking policy is attached to the official minutes of this meeting as attachment number 3 to this resolution. And there's no confusion at all. I mean, it all goes together.
There you go.
Okay, just add attachment number 3.
Okay.
All right,
See attachment 3.
all right. Mary Stone?
I have a question, Mary Stone, 356C. I have a question regarding the publication of confidential attorney-client privilege material. Is that allowed, or should that page then kind of something stricken?
What page?
What are you talking about?
Because it's page 2 of 11. Confidential attorney-client privilege memo. That's, if it's confidential attorney-client privilege memo, it shouldn't be in the packet. I mean, I can understand getting the letter, but if you're going to put it in the packet, I think that's...
Okay, that was for the committee. It can be removed from the attachment.
Sorry, gang. but-
It does not deal with any special unit or any special member.
I
so-
understand,
So
but-
there will be no complainant.
Right,
However,
but either that, we take off confidential.
Then you got to take the confidential
And just
off.
put attorney-client response or
Well,
something.
Yes, something
just
like
put
that.
attorney memo.
All right, Lisa, how should we handle that?
Oh, I'm just,
No, let's let our attorney tell us.
clue,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think that the dissemination of this memo is harmful to anyone, but in the future, if this is going to be attached to your resolutions, then our office needs to make sure that it is in the proper format and does not contain any attorney-client information. This memo right now, it does not create any issues. It's just the title of it, so we can strike the title of it. It can simply just be a memo, or it can be removed.
Right, thank you. All right, Dick Rader?
It was brought up in committee that smoking and vaping are two different things. So I wondered if you would consider renaming the resolution to non-smoking/non-vaping policy.
Since it covers vaping in the policy, I don't think we need to change the name. We don't say pipe smoking, which other people don't consider the same as, or tobacco. And we do mention that marijuana, but we don't have that in the title as well. So I think it covers it in saying all the different kinds of smoking. All right, I have a motion and a second to move this forward to our June meeting. Would you vote, please? You need to get rid of the time screen before you can go to the vote screen. All right, we're missing one vote.
Director Addington is
Oh, is out of the
gone.
room.
So-
Okay. All right, the motion passes 10-0.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
In order to enable our next board meeting in line with my quote-unquote scolding, Are we going to get to see what the actual thing is that we agreed to today before, within the 28 days, so that we can take a look at it prior to next meeting?
Yes. We'll put a copy in the box, in your box.
Okay, just to make sure, because then we'll know exactly what it is that we're voting on for the final vote next time.
All right.
Thank you.
So you're saying 5 days isn't enough?
No, I'm not saying that, I'm just asking.
All right. All right, let's go to number 13B, entertain a motion to introduce a resolution for updates to the policy for distribution of materials by resident and resident organization. Would you read that resolution, please?
Yes, this one does have the entire information in the resolution. Policy for distribution of materials, da-da-da-da-da. Any materials, on the second resolve further, any materials for social, political, educational, and non-commercial purposes, including petitions to gather signatures, to be distributed to United Mutual residents shall bear identification as to its source, and any individual or entity distributing such material shall comply with all of the following conditions. Door-to-door distribution of material shall be permitted as long as the act of distributing such material does not rise to the level of creating a nuisance for Laguna Woods Village residents. Material that is distributed door-to-door may be secured under the doormat or near the thresholds of front doors or hung from doorknobs, but may not be placed in any USPS delivery points or left on vehicles anywhere. Closed gates may not be opened. Petitions. Only mutual members or their designated agents are permitted to gather signatures on petitions. B, the petition must remain in the possession of the signature gatherer. There can be no unattended petitions. 3, posting of material. Postings that do not comply with these rules will be subject to removal. A, posting locations are limited to those areas reserved for posting, such as laundry room bulletin boards, and are available only for residents. Only one posting per subject matter per organization or per candidate is allowed. The size of a posting in the laundry rooms, quote, unquote, parentheses, which are small bulletin boards, shall not exceed 5 by 5 by 8 by 5, 8.5, 5.5 by 8.5. That is a half a sheet that will fit in your printer and then be cut in half, or a half-size sheet through your printer, to allow space for other postings. Each posting by a resident or resident organization must identify the posting individual's name and posting date. Any material considered lewd or vulgar will be subject to removal. All non-election postings shall be removed after 30 days after the posting date. For election postings, removal after the election date. All material must comply with federal, state, and community laws. Removing postings of others is prohibited. Knocking on doors. Knocking on doors or ringing of doorbells to contact residents is only permitted weekdays from 10 a.m. to dusk, excluding national holidays. B, no solicitation or do not disturb signs must be honored. Now therefore be it resolved, the resolution 11503 approved on January 13th of 2015 is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolved further, the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move this resolution.
Do I have a second, please?
I will second with an
Thank you,
amendment.
Kash. All right, and before we go into discussion, I just might mention that this is to make us conform with the state law that went into effect January. All right, anybody who wishes to speak? Cash?
I would like to, in item 4 on page 11, it says permitted weekdays. For us, every day is a weekday. You know, we are retired, but we should mention Monday through Friday. Yeah, because.
Weekday?
I don't want,
Standard language for a weekday is Monday through Friday.
But
Weekend is Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
Doesn't matter how it fits for us. Come on. All right, Doctor, I always want to do that, Joe, to make you a doctor yet.
No, I needed a doctor.
Director Randazza?
I'm trying to see where, we say that it's supposed to be taken down 30 days later, but there's no directive here that I can read, or again, I may not have seen it, or my brain's not working well, where it says the date that has to be, every item needs to carry a date as to when
Yes.
it is posted. I don't see that on, does it say that?
Yes, it does.
Right.
Okay, where does it say that? I think it needs to say that, and if it doesn't say it, we should
Does.
add it. If it does, fine.
3D.
Each posting must identify the posting individual's name and posting date. 3D. All right, Director Morrison?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if we should, Maxine McIntosh had asked about making this a full size for the laundry room, 8.5 by 11. So I thought we ought to maybe discuss that and either change it or leave it alone.
All right. Director Blackwell, would you speak to that?
Having been a poster distributor for 4 elections in the laundry rooms, some are cluttered up with calendars, with church events, with club events, and so on. The board is not that large, probably as big as that screen. And so they do often remove other people's stuff and tape over or staple over or pin over or take the pins off the others so they can pin theirs. So if we keep it, it's been a half a page for several years, and that works out right. Like I say, you can run your 2 copies of your stuff, half a page each, and then just slice it in half. It's not difficult for printing purposes, that's why we used it. But it does allow for, during election time, sometimes there are 4 people with elections, plus the churches and everything else. Everybody wants their sign up there, and in order to allow people to have the room to do it, 1 page is too large, whereas a half a page seemed to fit perfectly well for a couple of years. Thank you.
Director Randazza?
Yeah, along with what I just said about the date, does VMS, the people that clean the laundry rooms or what have you, are allowed to pull down anything that's over 30 days?
Yes.
Because in my laundry room, there's stuff there that's been there for months. I'm just saying.
All right. You can take it, Ted.
I'm not allowed. I mean,
All right,
because
Director
it's what they
Akrakar?
everything is fine except, you know, when different clubs, and about 250 of them, when we advertise, we have a brochure that's 8.5 by 11. And laundry room is a place where people generally go, so you should allow instead of 8.5 by 5.5, make it 8.5 by 11. Because, you know, we can't cut something like this in half. Here's my brochure. How am I going to cut that in half? It's not going to tell you.
Print it smaller. Don't put pictures on. Right, smaller pictures.
All right, Dick Rader?
Item 3F, I just wondered if you wanted to clean up some of the verbiage. It says, non-election posting shall be removed after 30 days after the posting date. might you say, remove after 30 days from the posting date? You have two afters in there. The other thing is you have no verb in the second sentence. For election postings, removal will be after the election date, will be.
All right, on that one?
Okay, thank you. All right, it's been moved and seconded with a few additions, Scribner's errors, or Scribner things that will go back on the one that will be presented at our June meeting. So I have a motion to move this to our June meeting as unfinished business. Would you all vote, please?
May I comment?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you may.
I move that I amend this to 8.5 by 11.
I second.
For 3C?
The size of the posting in the laundry room
Right.
shall not exceed 8.5 by 11.
All right,
They can put
it's
'em on
been
top.
moved. Do I have a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded that we amend this resolution on 3C to make it 8.5 by 11 instead of 5.5 by 8.5. All right, wait, Dick, are you speaking on that?
Yeah.
All right, just come up.
Is everybody aware of the size of that board? I think that it will only take about 2 or 3 8.5 by 11s.
They vary by laundry room, the size of the boards.
Yeah, it's about like this.
It's the size
So
of the TV.
you should take that in consideration. If people want to post several things, you're not going to have enough room.
Okay, all right, it's been moved and seconded that we amend 3C to be 8.5 by 11 instead of 5.5.8.5.
May I be heard?
Director Brathwell?
That is likely to result in people taping items or sticking pins into the walls of the laundry room or onto the posts of the laundry room or taped onto the windows of the laundry room. If there is insufficient space on the small bulletin board, people will find a way to post their notice. Thank you.
All right, let's vote on this amendment, please. Excuse me, Director Torn?
I've never seen anybody posting it on the windows in the place other than the bulletin board, so I wouldn't bet on that. And also, to make it 2 different sizes for the clubhouses, posting materials, and make it the laundry room, it will cost different additional effort. So I would say, totally support that 8.5 by 11. I think that's a better idea to make it easier for the residents to do their job. Thank you.
All right, you're speaking in favor of the amendment. May we vote now on the amendment that would change item 3C from half a page to a whole page? Please vote.
This is not the amendment.
This is not the resolution, this is the amendment to this resolution.
But this does not say what it is, okay. No.
Director Bastani,
Reza.
your vote, please.
Fails.
No, Reza hasn't voted yet.
All right, let's vote on the original amendment, please. And that's to move forward the policy for distribution of materials by residents.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. It's 5 to 5. It didn't fail.
Still didn't pass. It's 11 votes, didn't pass.
Didn't pass, it
Go,
needs a
let's go on,
majority.
come on.
There's a staining.
Right.
No, it's 5 to 5.
All right.
It does not pass.
Right.
It needs a majority to pass.
I thought the chair shouldn't vote unless it's breaking the tie.
No, that's not correct.
Chair may vote anytime.
Chair may vote anytime. Mr. Parliamentarian, would you please?
Chair
take
may
on that?
vote at any time, can also participate in discussion. It's in Robert's rules. I can quote chapter and verse if you would like.
All right, so that, the main motion, please vote. All right, the main motion passes 8 in favor and 3 against. So that will move forward to our June meeting. Now we go to item 13C. That's a motion, I will entertain a motion to introduce a resolution to revise Standard 18 on gutters and downspouts. Madam Secretary, would you read that, please?
Architectural Control and Standards Committee recognizes the need to amend alteration standards and create new standards, and the need to revise alteration standard 18 gutters and downspouts. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Directors of this corporation introduces revisions to alteration standard 18 gutters and downspouts. Mr. Randazzo, can you tell us what the difference is?
No, it would be Mr. Akrakar.
Mr. Akrakar.
Okay. Mr. Akrakar, will you tell us what the difference between these is? You have deleted, you have crossed off, I see. We have a crossed off version on page 6 of 7 and 7 of 7.
Right. Showing the changes that were made.
Showing the changes. Right.
All right, do I have a second to the motion to bring this to our June meeting? All right, well, you second our motion.
I'll second.
Maggie's already made it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, all those in favor of bringing the resolution to revise Standard 18 to our June meeting, please vote.
Director Addington, your vote?
And we're missing one more?
Anthony.
Oh, Anthony, okay. There. The motion passes 10 to 0. All right. All right, thank you very much. I'm very pleased that we got through the bulk of our old and new business in 2 hours. We're getting there. All right, we will now go to item 14 on the agenda, the various committee reports. These are important to our residents because this tells you what's going on behind the scenes, where all the work takes place for the board. So our first report is our Finance Committee and our financial report, Director Morrison, our treasurer.
Slide 1. Okay, through the reporting period of March 31st, 2019. Sorry. Okay, through the reporting period of March 31st, 2019, total revenue for United was $10,610,000 compared to expenses of $10,089,000, resulting in a net revenue of $521,000. Slide 2, please. In finance, we keep a close eye on the operating portion of our financial results. The operating fund shows an operating surplus of $449,000 through the reporting period. This chart shows how much of our revenue went into operations, with $7,012,000 coming in from assessments and $398,000 coming from non-assessment revenue. This is compared to the operating expenditures of $6,961,000. After backing out depreciation, which is not funded through operations, we have a bottom line operating surplus of $449,000. Slide 3, please. This chart shows the same figures from the income statement, but compared to budget. We can see that the United ended the period better than budget by $997,000. Slide 4, please. Most significant favorable variances from budget were attributed to outside services of $727,000, which is due to timing. Budgets are spread evenly, and certain reserve expenditures will occur later in the year for programs such as waistline and roof replacements. Employee compensation and related, $157,000. Vacancies in maintenance and construction services. Also, union medical costs coming in lower than the budgeted contingency for a rate increase, and less participation in non-union retirement. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Let's see. Further, less participation in non-union retirement and lower workers' compensation insurance payments than anticipated. Utilities and telephone, $85,000, less water usage for irrigation due to the rainfall. An offsetting variance, which included materials and supplies, which was a negative $141,000, was unfavorable due to the timing of water heater replacements. Staff is addressing a backlog of water heater replacements of the work early this year. Slide 5, please. On this pie chart, we show the non-assessment revenues received to date of $507,000 by category, starting with our largest revenue-generating category, fees and charges to residents, followed by interest income, laundry revenue, and so forth. Slide 6, please. On this pie chart, we see the expenses to date of $10,000, showing that our largest categories of expense are for employee compensation and property taxes, followed by outside services, materials and supplies, utilities, telephone, and so forth.
I wish it was $10,000. I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Slide 7. The reserve balance on March 31st, 2019 was $21,838,000. Year-to-date contributions and interest to reserves were $3,201,000, while the year-to-date expenditures were $3,076,000. So the current balance as of 3/31/2019 was $21,838,000. Slide 8. We compare this to the historical fund balances for the past 5 years on this chart, which has averaged $21,592,000. Slide 9, please. This slide's been added to show resale history from 2017 to 2019, and through March, United sales totaled 60. Okay. Our delinquency report as of April the 30th, 2019, our current month count was 14. Our prior month was 17. Our current month is 106,000, and our prior month was 114,000, so we're down approximately 8,000 and down a count of 3. We have 3 liens to be recorded, 3 files with the collection agent, 2 files submitted to legal counsel, 1 lender for closure, and 2 maintaining a balance below $1,800. We have 1 payment request and 1 NCB payment applied. Our chargeable services delinquency report as of April 30th, our current month count was 22. Prior month was 26. We went down 4, but up $8,000 from $123,516 last month to $131,573 this month. Our resales this year to date are 92. Last year, 114. We're down 22 sales, or down 19.3%. Our sales volume as of April 2019 was $24,957,351. Our sales volume as of April 2018 was $32,054,840. So we're down $7,097,489, or we're down 22%. Our average resale price this year to date, $269,000. Our average resale price last year to date, $281,000. So our average retail sales price is down $11,692, or 4.2% year-to-date change. Our monthly leasing report has stayed the same at 9%. And that's all I have.
Your next meeting?
For Finance Committee,
May 28th.
May 28th. Okay, thank you, May 28th.
And don't forget, we have the reserve meeting this Thursday, on the
Thursday,
16th
correct.
as well. Thank you. Yes.
Gary, page 1, we have 2 income statements separated. What is the reason for slide 1 and slide 2 being different? Why are they separated? They should be all into one.
Our slide 1 and 2.
It's wrong. Without depreciation, depreciation is only $333,000 a year. May I comment?
You
I
may.
still have a couple more comments.
Wait, Director Akakar is not finished.
Did I make my question clear, Gary?
It's supposed to be without depreciation, and obviously it's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay?
It says without depreciation.
Yeah, it's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's simple.
Okay.
Yeah. The next question I have is on your page 3 of 5, the bottom chart, which is, I would say, 4, 5, 6, chart number 6. You're showing 27% property and sales tax. I think most of that property tax is then transferred to the individual share owners, isn't it, or no?
It's part of the assessment that comes
It's-
into us.
And it's only due to the assessor twice a year, so.
All right, and I have one more question here. One more real comment. On page 3 of 6.
3 and 6.
You're talking about lower numbers of sales, but you should also mention that that is a general trend, not just in our city.
Well,
but-
that's true.
Yeah, we have to
The
mention.
county of Orange is down in general,
Even
Right.
more than this.
so it's not just the village.
Right, you have to make that comment. Thank you.
All right, our next report is from Director Akakar on the Architectural Control and Standards Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was on vacation, but Mr. Carl Randazzo handled that meeting, and he gave an excellent report, which is on page 14B, page 1 and 2. I'm just going to iterate 2 things that happened there. One is we are maintaining, not giving away common land, because common land is common to everybody. And access to common land by an individual is, again, was denied. The next item, number 9 there, gutters and downspouts, was generated because of heavy rainfalls we had, and we noticed that quite a few buildings, the rainwater falls right near the foundation, and that's what inspired that particular discussion. That's the report I have, and the next meeting is June 20th in the Elm Room at 9:30.
Thank you. 14C, report of the Communications Committee, Director Blackwell.
Thank you. We had extra communications this month, some by the president and some by me, about various things like lenders in United and so on. We also had the breeze come out, and we had 6 or 7 articles. Third only had 3. So we're doing quite well, and everybody's turning in their articles. It's easier for me if you cut it to 50 than if I cut it to 50. So 250. But it's very good. I appreciate everyone's help and contributions. Thank you.
Okay. 14D, a report of the Member Hearings Committee, Director Akrakar.
Member hearing committee, generally, we bring people who have, by some means, not behaved maybe, or had some problems, and they're discussed and handled on one-on-one basis, and clients or members are in front of a board, and both sides, we hear them and we hear the staff and then make the decision. So that was very well done. And the next meeting is May 23rd. It's a closed meeting. Next meeting is May 23rd at 9 a.m. It's a closed meeting, though, Sycamore Room. Thank you.
Thank you. Report of the Governing Documents Review Committee, Director Blackwell.
Okay, and you saw the work of some of our work in your agenda today. The policy for distributing materials and so on, that came from ours, and the smoking policy came. And the guarantors were discussed briefly, and the committee favored in California for the assets, and then the committee just couldn't see a reason to move forward for guarantors and just voted not to consider guarantors forward for board consideration. Our next meeting is May 27th, and we will talk about the committee advisor requirements and guarantors or not.
But it's May 28th.
It's May 28th? That's right, we changed it because the 27th is
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, though we could hold it outside. Okay, thank you.
All right, our next report is the Landscape Committee report. Again, Director Blackwell.
I'm a doctor, too.
I'm going to make you a doctor, too.
Never been called a doctor before. Okay. We had, of course, the project log and the herbicide testing final report, which was all good news, and everybody knows what that is. There is a big undertaking to reorganize and reschedule the landscaping department, and Kurt Weeman is doing a very good job of getting all considerations in, and he's very well organized, so that looks to be very helpful. We had some trees that we agreed to have removed and some not. We'll have a 6-month, every 6 months, or at least this next 6 months, we'll have another herbicide report. But the question is, Bayer and Monsanto came up with this solution for Roundup. Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
All right, next we'll have the report of the Maintenance and Construction Committee. Doctor, you're going to be a doctor before we end this meeting. Director Randazzo.
Okay, the Maintenance and Construction minutes of meeting are on attachment agenda item number 14G. But I'll provide some additional information. At the meeting occurred on April 24th. We again addressed possible need for water detection devices for potential leaks in the hot water heaters. Considering the inventory of water in the heaters, as a result of this discussion, VMS staff was directed to research other water detection devices that offer a sharper, louder water detection sound and bring this information back to a future meeting. In addition, since even if you hear the device alarm, most people would not know what to do next, I went on TV6 on April 26th as part of the thing that we do every week, United Update, and showed the water detection device that I personally installed on my water heater, and also showed everyone how to shut the valve to the hot water heater should a leak occur, whether or not you have a leak detection device or not. You see the water leaking, you know where the valve is now if you saw that little presentation that I made.
It's available on YouTube.
It's available on YouTube. Whether or not the mutual decides to purchase and install water detection devices does not take away from knowing where the valve is that is adjacent to the heater should a leak occur. So you may want to just take a look at that YouTube video, and you'll be a little bit more informed. The other thing is, as the chair of the Solar Power Plant Task Force, Sue Margolis provided a brief update of where we are and also inputted into the minutes a full report of our status, and they are also in the minutes, as I noted. Our status is that we are making some progress and are reconnecting ourselves with the whole solar power plant install and how this is affecting us today and how we can make it better for the future. So that's still an ongoing thing. One of our advisors made a presentation regarding water drainage issues at Gate 1 and El Toro. It was noted in certain instances the Avenida Sevilla and parts of El Toro flood during a hard rain event. Discussion ensued regarding size of drain inlet capacity, adding a secondary inlet on Avenida Sevilla or other areas in the village to prevent street flooding, slurry sealing, and how the current street and drainage system is working as designed. As a result of the discussion, VMS staff were directed to contact the city to inquire about the diameter of their storm drains on El Toro. So, what do we got here? We got a hard rain event. We can have as many sewers as we want on Avenida Sevilla. However, it drains into a storm drain that's sitting in El Toro. That belongs to the city. If the only thing we can do is possibly see if we need to increase that storm drain line, and we have to work with the city on that. That would not be on our dime, that would be on theirs, but that's something that we're going to be looking into. And then the date of our next meeting is April 24th in the boardroom. All residents are invited. Thank you.
Would you report?
Excuse me.
Would you also report on the Village
It was
Energy
in-
Task Force?
It was not April 24th, obviously, because that already passed. It's
June 26th.
June 26th. So, sorry about that. As soon as I said it. The Energy Task Force meeting was held on May 1st. We addressed a number of topics. Most of them had to do with THIRD and their pilot program for their lighting, and I'm not going to address any of the THIRD issues. Energy Task Force is made up of the mutuals, all the mutuals, and GRF. So some of the United stuff, most of it was, we discussed THIRD items. But as part of that meeting, we voted for a new chairman of the committee. The previous chairman has stepped down, so we needed to get a new chairman. And that new chairman for that Energy Task Force is Steve Leonard now. We also reviewed a number of energy projects that are in progress or will be started soon, and these are non-THIRD items. Walkway lighting program is ongoing with a budget of almost $61,000 set aside this year to address walkway lighting issues in United. An energy consultant has been hired to review our current electrical infrastructure. This has been ongoing, and to make recommendations of how we can improve it over time. At this meeting, VMS provided the committee with an update of their current status. And we also spend a lot of time on issues that are going on, in, as I said, in Third Mutual. The date of our next Energy Task Force meeting is July 3rd in the boardroom, but we're trying to change that venue because we feel that that venue does not lend itself to the type of meeting that we have, and that's still an ongoing item. Thank you.
Our last committee report will be from Director Akrakar, Resident Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The meeting, we met on April 11th, and item discussed there is being addressed and will be, corrective action will be done soon, hopefully. We are meeting again on the 16th of the month, and you're welcome to join us at 4 p.m. in Sycamore Room. That's all I have to report right now, and I will advise all our residents to contact me if they have problem. My email has been published by our Director Margolis. My email is cash334@gmail.com. Please do call, and I would advise you to attend the meeting because we do have staff that day, and quick action can be taken on those issues. Thank you.
All right, we'll go on to item number 15, and that is the reports from the GRF committees. United has 2 members on each GRF committee, and so this is our opportunity to tell you, the residents, what's happening on the GRF committee that our United members are serving on. The first is the Finance Committee, Director Morrison.
Okay, the GRF Finance Committee met April the 24th, 2019. The income statement as of March the 31st had actual income or actual revenue year-to-date was $10,764,000 compared to budgeted year-to-date of $11,155,000, or worse than budget by $391,000. This was mainly due to less rounds of golf played, less trust facility fees, and the less rounds of golf also presented itself to lower merchandise sales. Total clubhouse rentals and event fees were also down. Actual expenses year-to-date, $10,002,000 compared to the budget of $10,353,000, and it was better than budget by $337,000, mainly due to timing. Results in excess of revenues over expenses, $762,000. The balance sheet as of March 31st, current month, $82,867,527. Prior year was $83,044,724, a decrease of $177,197. Our funds balance sheet, the operating fund was $53 million, or is as of that date, $53,406,093. The facilities fund, $19,455,252. The equipment fund, $5,424,135. Contingency fund, $522,007. And our trust facilities fee fund, $4,060,040, and that totals that $82,867,527. The annual audit was completed, and everyone liked KPMG and how they worked with the staff. There were no complaints. Inventory management update was discussed, and the procedure, the requisition, how materials are distributed, approval of the RECs, AIX control, and cycle count. Everything is counted once a month. The investment task force update, We interviewed several vendors and asked for more information. We haven't had meetings because one of our treasurers has been ill in the hospital, serious complications. So we're trying to have a meeting the 1st of June. Our next Finance Committee meeting is going to be June the 19th, 2019.
Thank you. Can we have a report of the Community Activities Committee? Director Margolis.
The committee met on March 14th, and they passed 2 motions. One giving the golf staff the ability to close the 9 holes in the summer if the heat and humidity require it for maintenance purposes. The second was to raise the parking fees for the emeritus students to $50 for fall and spring term and $30 for summer term, hopefully to see $37K more of income. We discussed the television in the drop-in lounge and asked staff to look into it. We discussed giving a home to the Brain Trust, a place where residents could get together with others to work on products for the future. We discussed the new sign-in sheets, which are release forms, and the next meeting will be July 11th at 1:30 p.m.
Thank you. All right, can I have a report from the Landscape Committee? Director Blackwell.
The Landscape Committee met in March, or it didn't meet in March. I thought it was canceled. We're having trouble. Mr. Moldo is going to resign as chair of that committee, so we will have to consider a new committee chair, or they are thinking about abandoning the committee. So our next meeting where we will discuss those things will be May 15th at 1:30 in this room. Okay.
I might add to that, this is not just a GRF decision. Because we have people on the board from all of the housing mutuals that actually are voting members of those boards, it has to be voted on before they decide to abandon that committee. All right, our next one would be the report of the Maintenance and Construction Committee. Director Randazzo.
Not doctor.
No, Doctor.
So the GRF M&C committee had their meeting on April 10th. At this meeting, we reviewed the project log regarding certain outstanding projects and discussed other issues. Among these were the walkway lighting bollards at clubhouses 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This will be further discussed at future meetings to determine the needs at those locations. The tennis center improvements that we are still working to tie down the scope and the price. There are some anticipated updates to the tennis center that are being requested, and we're looking into that. And then we also reviewed the pickleball and paddleball tennis court completions report, because those items obviously are complete now, and we reviewed that completion report. And the date of our next meeting is June 12th, the boardroom. All residents are invited.
Thank you. Report, please, from the Media Communications Committee. Director Blackwell.
Thank you. You received a report from the Media and Communications Committee. This came out in a mailing which you should have probably gotten last week, and it tells all kinds of things about the village, and that was a product of Eileen and her group. Very good. Okay. We cannot say these things often enough, particularly about the gate access. Everybody's mentioned that today. That is, get an RFID and use it. Okay, broadband we're aiming to remove standard definition by the end of 2019 and become 100% high definition by 2020. We are moving right along in that direction. There is resistance to even getting a box for $5 to be able to get the menu. But it must be done if you have analog or whatever and you don't have the the box for the attachment. I'm not technically smart. Okay. Set-top box, yeah, right. Okay, and Mr. Holland described benefits to the community, which includes simplicity, easier call handling for customer support, and reduction in hardware licensing costs, energy consumption, and recurring maintenance. I would urge anyone and everyone who wants to hear incredible reports to come to the Communication Committee to hear all of this stuff. The technology they're going through and their advancements are very impressive. Marketing and Communications report by Eileen Pollan was equally magnificent. The focus, workflow emails, publications, department areas of focus, docent tours, weed abatement, gate construction, RFID stickers, security awareness, the LTOR interchange, waste disposal, recycling, new dryer installation, street lighting and Third Mutual, and transportation study updates were all pieces of communication that got sent out by Eileen and her group. They're incomparable. The Realtor tours are under discussion, implementing a policy for photography and marketing. So that is what we continue to talk about. Our next meeting is, I had it.
May 20th.
May 20th. I urge you to come to one of these meetings. If you want to hear what is really happening, this is where you will find it. Thank you.
All right, our next report will be on the Mobility and Vehicles Committee. Director Addington.
Thank you. The last meeting was held on April the 3rd, and we're every 2 months, and so there was no meeting in May. That contents of that meeting in April 3rd were reviewed at the April United Board meeting, so I won't repeat myself. The next meeting will be on June the 5th, 2019, and we're hoping, and I should have a location on that, and I don't, but it's on June 5th, 2019.
In the boardroom.
In the boardroom. Thank you very much, Ms. Skillman. And we're hoping to hear the progress made we're hoping for a report from Fair and Piers, with bated breath, the contractor company who's performing an assessment of the village's transportation system, specifically buses. So keep our fingers crossed. That should be a great meeting, and everyone is encouraged to attend here in the boardroom on June 5th. Thank you.
Can we have a report, please, of the Security Access Committee? Director Liberatore.
Madam President, I have to apologize. Due to personal pressing issues, I was unable to attend that meeting, and I apologize for that. Thank you.
Okay. The next meeting will be June 24th in the boardroom. All right, the traffic hearings, Director Torn.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. And we heard quite a few cases of traffic violations, and one thing brought my attention was we have almost doubled the parking violations. So the residents need to be aware of your parking situation. Please do not parking in the no parking zone, limited parking zone, and also make sure you have registration is up to date, and you have decal and an overnight parking permit. Some residents don't realize that even though you have a parking permit, your relative, your children come over to visit you, they have a parking permit. So if they want to stay overnight, they need to have an overnight parking permit. And so please make sure you talk to the resident services and get your permit on that. However, our moving violations like speeding, like stop signs, rolling stop signs, and unlicensed driver reduced to 20%, which is a very good sign, but they are still significant. I'm talking only about the United area, south of Gate 1 and the north of Gate 5 and 6. So these areas, we do see moving violation reduced, but we see parking violations in double. So please pay attention to those rules. We don't want people park in the wrong place, and we don't want people speeding. This is a very elderly community, and people do come out and walk around in the middle of night. Thank you very much.
All right, report please of the Disaster Preparedness Task Force, Director Akrakar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last month, they did not meet, but let me say one thing. Tim Moy and his group is doing such an excellent job that the neighboring cities also are employing some of his suggestions and his plan. One incident I can tell that he was personally present when there was a problem in a sale, or what you call those, estate sales. There were some parking issues, and Tim Moy was there within 3 minutes after that happened. So he's on top, and we have an excellent, excellent team under him. So next time you see him, say, hey, hello, Mr. Moy, you're doing a great job. Next meeting we have is on May 28th at 9:30 in the boardroom. So please do attend. Understand what we do as disaster preparedness, and also volunteer to be the group good neighbor captain and building captains and all those that he needs. So we understand what the whole plan is about and not wait till the disaster happens. Thank you.
Okay. I just might add to that that we had to move because of space considerations with social services, the disaster preparedness room, and it's now over in the corridor close to the spruce and the elm room if you go up that hallway. But also, if you're interested, there's a display in the library this month on disaster preparedness, showing all the types of projects that you can get at our meeting that you can buy for disaster preparedness, et cetera. So if you're into the library, be sure and stop and look at that display. And if you're interested in getting supplies for disaster preparedness, we've hidden it away in a corner up that hallway, but it is still functioning. All right, future agenda items. There's really, right now, only one, because the Document Review Committee decided not to bring forth the resolution on guarantors, so they are studying the advisor qualifications, and they may bring that forward. That would come from the other committee. I'll go now to number 17, Director's Comments. And let's start over on this side with Director Margolis.
No comments.
Okay. Director Liberatore?
No comments, Madam President.
No comment.
Okay.
No comment.
Doing well.
No comment.
I can't pass this up. I think we did very well on time today. Thank you.
Okay.
I second that, and also I would like to publicize India clubs bringing Laguna Woods Got Talent for all the residents of the village. You're welcome. It'll be a nice meeting. We are going to restrict it to 150 people. Last time we had 179. It just got out of hand a little bit. So if you are coming, you must RSVP. And if you are going to join in the selection process, please call the number ahead of time by 20th or RSVP by the 24th. The meeting is on May 30th in Clubhouse 7 at 5:30 till 9 o'clock. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Torn?
Yes, I have a few comments, and first, I'm a little bit confused about some of the items we are, during the 30-day review period, some of the items are allowed to be discussed, and some of the items are not allowed to be discussed. I'm totally confused what's the idea about those things. I understand there are different opinions, but we need to make it consistent and set up as a guideline. And also, we talk about future agenda items, approved committee advisor qualifications, procedures, and policy. I would like to also recommend that we need to add the committee chair qualifications, procedure, and policy. I have no problem non-residents joining the advisory committee and be advisors. They bring valuable experience. However, I do have a problem that non-residents, like Steve Leonard, I confirmed with him, he's not a member of United Board anymore. And he's
He's a resident, he's a co-occupant.
yeah, he's not a owner. Okay, he's a resident, but he's not a member anymore. And I thought we have a rule that says members are not allowed to speak during this forum, and that's but he's allowed to lead the meeting. So I would like to add also approve the committee of advisor. I don't know why it's left out as a chair, also chair qualifications, procedures, and policies. So the other thing is, I've noticed that the attendance of our board meeting is getting less and less. I hope we can figure out a way to get our residents to attend. Maybe they have no problem, they have everything's happy, and they don't need to join us.
They're
But,
watching on TV.
Yes, yes. I hope we can get their feedback, not just watching. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Director Addington.
No comment.
Director Bazari?
I have two comments. One was same thing that Andre pointed out about Steve Leonard being a chairman. I wanted to know, since this involves other groups as well, Third and the other groups, I want to know who should take an action on this.
They have, excuse me if I can answer that, they have a charter. Their charter of the task force, which was voted on by the task force and brought to each of our boards and approved, sets forth the qualifications of being on that task force and who can be chairman. And it has nothing to do with our regular rules and regulations. All right, your second point?
So may I ask that?
No.
We
I'm
have
sorry,
rules
Director Bazar.
for the resident, but we don't have rules for ourselves.
It's not your
We can
turn to
break the
speak.
rules.
Order. Thank you.
You had another point?
The second, I have a question. VMS gave us a digital to analog converter. This was a Motorola box. In my unit, this box didn't work. We asked broadband, they came over, they couldn't fix it, but because they turned this thing on and off continuously, so a few days later my TV didn't work either. So I want to know first, if they give us sell us a box, aren't they responsible to fix it? One. Two, who pays for the TV?
That's a GRF question. You'll need to bring that to the Media and Communications Committee and/or across the hall at Broadband.
Well,
That's not a united item.
I know, but I brought it up because Jeff is here, Jeff Parker. I thought maybe he can shed some light on this.
I can, I'll have staff look into it.
All right, thank you. All right, I am pleased to say at 12:05, this meeting is recessed to our closed meeting. Yay!
Must be a record.